Everyone wants to be seen, to be recognized, to be celebrated. They announce their goals, they share their progress, they broadcast their intentions. They need the world to watch them build. But there's a different kind of man. He disappears, not because he's hiding, not because he's afraid, but because he understands something most people never learn. You need to become invisible before you can become unstoppable. While everyone else is performing their journey, he's actually taking it. While they're talking about what they're going to do, he's doing it in silence. While they're seeking validation for incomplete work, he's completing work no one knows exists. And then one day, he reappears, not as the person who was trying to become something, but as the person who already became it. Unstoppable, undeniable, unbreakable. This channel is for the man who stayed strong when no one noticed, the man who carried responsibility quietly and slowly disappeared. Here, strength is questioned, silence is exposed, and the cost of being the strong one is finally spoken out loud. Let me show you why invisibility is power, what happens when you build in silence, and why the world only needs to see you when you're already unstoppable. When you're invisible, you're protected from opinion. This is the first gift of invisibility. When no one knows what you're building, no one can tell you it won't work. When no one sees your progress, no one can judge it as too slow. When no one knows your goals, no one can plant doubt about whether you'll achieve them. Most people sabotage themselves by announcing too early. They tell everyone they're starting a business. They share they're writing a book. They broadcast they're getting in shape. And the moment they announce it, the world has opinions. Well-meaning people say, be realistic. Jealous people say, who do you think you are? Cynical people say, it's been done before. And all those voices, all those opinions, they seep into your mind. They slow you down. They make you question. They create resistance where there didn't need to be any. But when you're invisible, when no one knows what you're doing, there are no opinions to manage, no doubt to defend against, no voices to drown out, just you and the work, pure, uncontaminated, focused. When you're invisible, you're free to fail without audience, and failure is part of the process. You're going to mess up. You're going to try things that don't work. You're going to look stupid while you learn. That's how growth happens. But most people can't fail publicly. They've announced their journey, they've shared their goals, they've built an audience watching their progress. And now, every failure is embarrassing. Every setback is shameful. Every mistake is evidence they're not good enough. So they stop trying things. They play it safe. They avoid risks. They protect their image. And in protecting their image, they sacrifice their growth. But when you're invisible, failure is private. You can try the risky approach. You can experiment. You can fall on your face. You can look foolish. And no one sees it. No one judges it. No one remembers it. You just get up, learn from it, and try again. Invisible failure is how you become unstoppable, because you're free to fail as many times as it takes to succeed. When you're invisible, you build real confidence instead of performed confidence. Most people are building confidence through external validation. They post their progress. People like it. They feel confident. They share their work. People praise it. They feel validated.
But that confidence is fragile because it depends on others. When the likes stop, the confidence wobbles. When the praise quiets, the doubt creeps in. External confidence is conditional, and conditional confidence is weakness. But when you build in silence, when you're invisible, you can't rely on external validation. There is none. So you build internal validation. You learn to know when you've done good work regardless of who sees it. You develop an internal compass for quality. You trust your own judgment. And that internal confidence, that self-generated certainty, that's unshakable because it doesn't depend on anyone else. You know you're good because you've done the work, not because someone told you you're good. When you're invisible, you avoid the trap of premature celebration. There's a phenomenon where announcing a goal gives you a dopamine hit similar to achieving it. You tell people you're writing a book. They say, that's amazing. You feel good. Your brain registers accomplishment, and then the motivation to actually write the book decreases because you already got the reward. This is why most announced goals die. The announcement satisfied the need for recognition. The brain got what it wanted.
And the actual work becomes harder because there's no reward left to chase. But when you're invisible, when you don't announce anything, you don't get that premature reward. Your brain stays hungry. The only way to get satisfaction is to actually do the thing. So you keep working, not for validation, for completion. When you're invisible, you compress years into months because you're not distracted, you're not performing, you're not managing other people's perceptions, you're not defending your choices, you're not explaining yourself, you're just working. Most people waste massive amounts of energy on the performance of productivity, posting about their routine, sharing their workspace, documenting their process, and all that documenting takes time that could be spent actually building. But when you're invisible, 100% of your energy goes to the work. You're not splitting attention between doing and documenting. You're not pausing to photograph your progress. You're not crafting captions about your journey. You're just in the work, fully, completely, obsessively. And that complete focus, that undivided attention, that accelerates progress exponentially.
You get more done in 3 months of invisible work than most people get done in 3 years of visible work. When you're invisible, you control the narrative. Most people build publicly, so the narrative of their journey gets written in real time. People see the struggles, the setbacks, the failures, the messy middle, and that becomes part of their story forever. But when you build invisibly, the world only sees the finished product. They don't know about the failures. They don't see the struggle. They don't witness the doubt. They just see you after you've become unstoppable. And unstoppable is the only narrative they have. You get to emerge already transformed, not as someone trying to transform, not as someone in progress, but as someone who already transformed, complete, undeniable, already operating at a level most people can't comprehend. When you're invisible, you separate the real from the performative. In today's world, it's easy to look productive without being productive. Post quotes, share motivational content, document routines, talk about discipline, and people will think you're doing the work. But performance isn't progress. Looking busy isn't being effective. Talking about it isn't doing it. And when you're invisible, you can't perform. There's no audience. So the only thing left is real work. You're forced to be honest with yourself. Did you actually make progress today? Or did you just look productive? Did you move closer to your goal? Or did you just post about moving closer to your goal? Invisibility creates accountability to reality instead of audience. Here's the truth about invisibility and becoming unstoppable. Unstoppable isn't built publicly. Unstoppable is built in basements, in garages, in early mornings, in late nights, in moments no one sees. It's built through 10,000 hours of invisible repetition, through failures no one witnessed, through doubt no one consoled, through work no one praised. And then, after all that invisible work, after all those silent hours, after all that private failure and growth, you emerge, not seeking permission, not asking for validation, not explaining your journey, just demonstrating undeniable capability. And people are shocked. Where did you come from? How did you get so good? When did this happen? And you don't explain, because the work speaks for itself, and unstoppable doesn't need explanation. Most people will never understand this.
They're addicted to visibility. They need the likes. They need the comments. They need the validation. They need the world to watch them try. And that need will keep them from ever becoming unstoppable, because they're performing instead of building. But you can be different. You can disappear. Not forever, just long enough. Long enough to build something real. Long enough to become someone undeniable. Long enough to transform completely. And then you reappear, not as someone trying, but as someone who succeeded. Not as someone building, but as someone who already built. Not as someone becoming unstoppable, but as someone who already is. The hero's journey isn't public, It's private. It happens in silence, in invisibility, in the space between who you were and who you're becoming. And that space is sacred, and that space is powerful, and that space is where unstoppable is forged. Become invisible before you become unstoppable. Disappear into the work. Build in silence. Fail without audience. Grow without documentation. Transform without announcement. And then emerge, fully formed, undeniable, unstoppable. If you're building something in silence and no one knows about it yet, leave a comment with one word: invisible. Because the world doesn't need to see you becoming. The world only needs to see you when you already became. Next episode, how to know when it's time to emerge from invisibility.